On this week's episode of the Superhero Show, we'll find out if for some strange reason we start craving McDonald's after watching Loki, if we still crave for Gen V to be better, or if we're ba-da-ba-ba-ba loving it, if Kraven the Hunter is craving a piece of that Peter Parker pie, or just some McDonald's fries. All of that and more on an all-new episode of the Superhero Show. What's up, nerds? Welcome to the Superhero Show, the only show on the internet that reviews every single live-action television show based on a comic book, as well as some of the animated ones. My name is Cassie, and I will be your host for this episode. I want to thank Mike for filling in last week. He is not here. He has been kicked out of the studio. He knows what he did. Also, Caitlin isn't here. That's not intentional. That was an accident. That's my bad, everyone. But don't worry. I do have some other friends here. Ryan, of course, is here.
Friend?
Friends.
Did you say friend?
Friends, Ryan.
Okay, I was about to open up. You can see what I'm holding. It is a can of whoop-ass. And I was about to open it up on you because I thought you were going to say frenemy or even enemy. But you did say friend. I would just like to let everybody know, this is hard for me to say, but it is time to let everybody know that despite public appearances between me and Cassie, we have been separated for 7 years.
Ryan, you can't let them know this.
There's a lot of things going on in the world too, Ryan. Is it really the time to talk about this?
The spotlight shouldn't be on us.
If Jada has the audacity to come out and admit it, then we can too. Cassie and I pretend like we're friends on the show, and then we drive home and we go to our separate rooms. Do not speak. But by opening up this show and declaring me a friend, maybe, just maybe, we might unseparate as friends.
I mean, right now we have this rule where, we like to pretend the studio is, fully open. We're all in one area. But there are two separate rooms in between us with, a clear glass. So I don't even have to be in the same presence as you. But maybe after this we can, break that glass down. Maybe get a little openness.
Each room is filled with cardboard stand-ups of me and you saying fuck you to each other, so we're going to have to clear all of those out, too.
Well, each time you get one, I got to give you double. I got to put two of me up with two fingers, obviously, because I'm not going to let you win that.
And then I got to put up four. Let me ask you guys a question. Do you want to introduce anybody else, or should I just keep talking?
Oh, yeah, no. Just remember what you were going to ask, okay? I don't want you forgetting that, because I'm sure it's really important.
It's fucking gold.
I know it's going to be. We do have our good friend, Books is on as well.
Hey, yeah, it's getting a little awkward. I chose to sat in the hallway between the two rooms because you guys were really having a custody battle, and so I'm just right in the middle of all of this.
I thought you were sitting in the hall because you wanted to relive high school days of you just sitting in the hall reading a book. And you were just this is where my comfort zone is.
You just called me a friend, and then you told the whole audience that I had no friends.
Like a real friend, I call you out immediately. But that's what best friends do, I would say.
And McKenna, you had one friend at all times, the book in your hand.
Yeah. The truest friend would never betray me.
Ryan, the floor is all yours now for that very important question that you had and you were remembering.
Oh, back to our actual friends, Jada and Will. Do you guys get the impression that when Jada announced that her and Will had been separated for 7 years, that Will Smith found out that at the same time we all did?
Absolutely.
The same way
fucking couple.
We all did on Twitter, scrolling down, just oh, okay. And he's what the fuck?
I feel like she really genuinely expected it to get a big what kind of, but that's the least wild thing she's ever shared about her personal life. So it was kind of oh, okay, why did this even feel the need to share? This is not eventful news when it comes to Jada.
Bitch, you fucked your son's best friend. What kind of reaction do you want from us at this point?
Yeah, from there to like me and my husband haven't been together for 7 years. Like, okay, cool. It seems like you guys kind of hated each other.
You don't seem very friendly. Also, you're both in an industry where you constantly kind of live on opposite, coasts or whatever anyway regularly. So like, not surprising.
She also said that she thought that the slap heard around the world. I don't know if you guys remember that, but Will Smith slapped Chris Rock.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for the refresher.
At the Oscars. She thought that was a bit that she just didn't know about. So
her glare and instigation of that, of like, are you gonna fucking do something about this? She was just pulling into the bit, right? She was just playing into it.
That's my favorite response to anything, and what I will use in my future for anything that ever happens that's terrible. I'll be like, "Oh, I thought it was a bit."
I have used that multiple times in my life, basically all the time. I get pulled over by cops for speeding. I thought we were doing a bit.
This was a thing.
Yeah, I'll show up to court. Yeah, you got it.
Okay, yeah, court. Oh, okay.
Well, guys, as much as I would like to talk about pop culture and shit on people with you, we do have a task here to do. I know Mike's not here to yell at us, but we do got to talk about comic book TV, which we will be doing. Today we're going to be talking about, of course, The Walking Dead, Daryl Dixon. We're going to be covering episodes 3 and 4 of Gen V. We're also going to be giving away another sushi because it is sushi season.
And sushi.
And sushi. But before we get to all that, let's go to our main event where we're covering Season 2 of Loki. On the first 2 episodes of Season 2 of Loki, we pick right back up from the end of Season 1 and watch as Mobius, Loki, Hunter B-15, their new friend OB, and eventually Sylvie try to fix the disaster they're in. This is made harder by the fact that the TBA is divided, as some work to fix the time loom so that it can handle all the extra timelines, while others decide that they need to sever the other timelines, killing billions of people. Taste buds, I ask you, how did it feel to get thrown right back into all that is happening on Loki?
Dizzying.
It was, it felt pretty quick paced, especially like for how long. It feels like it's been gone forever, and they like threw us into it.
I genuinely wondered if I had even finished Season 1. Like, He Who Remains forgot he existed whatsoever, which is funny considering his name. But he felt like he was tacked on at the very end of Season 1. Like, he just came up, so he was not very memorable in the scheme of the whole season. And then all of season, like the first episode, is all about him and his impact.
Mm-hmm.
I was lost.
Started this. Yeah. I can tell you a crazy part. This isn't big. I completely forgot that there was Loki variants. Basically what this is fucking based on. Like, literally the premise of this shit, I was like, oh, damn, there was other Lokis. There was an alligator
I was going to say, how could you forget
Forgot.
the alligator Loki, though? That one sticks in my head.
That one was so good. But that's how much I had just, like, forgot about everything that had happened. And then I got thrown back in, and I was like, this is a fucking good show.
To defend my good friend Cassie, who we have been very tight friends for at least the last 7 years, we have consumed a fucking buttload of media in the meantime. Not a lot of alligators, though, so I thought you would at least remember
and
the alligator.
I love those little guys.
Yeah, everyone loves a cute, cuddly alligator. I will say that I felt like I was always at 80% this entire, for both hours of like, I wasn't so confused that I was bored, but I never felt like I was 100% sure of what was going on at any given point. 80% all the way through.
Which I felt like I was kind of relying on like the music to tell me how I should feel in moments, because I was so like, there were moments where I was just a little too disconnected that I was like, all right, are there violins? Okay, I am supposed to be sad about this right now.
Okay, this is sad.
Okay, it's helping.
And I do think that they will do a good job. Like, through the second episode, which means I already had the first episode of season 2 to sort of reset myself. I was already like, what are they doing again? Why are they walking in this alleyway? Who's this actor guy? And then they would reset me, and they would be like, Loki would look directly, Tom Hiddleston would look me directly in the eye and be like, hey, we're looking for Sylvie. And I was like, oh, okay. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you, buddy. And then from there, it's just like, when do I get to see my good buddies Tom and Owen have a little moment together? That's really what we're all waiting for, right?
Yep.
they gave us that moment. So they were like, hey, let's go talk, let's go eat some pie. And I was like, delightful, love it. But the fucking mouth sounds that they decided to keep, so we knew that they were like eating the fucking pie, I was like, get the fuck out of here. I can't handle this any longer.
Also, was that key lime pie like a disturbingly bright shade of green for anyone?
Yeah. Yeah,
You know what
like
it
Ecto
is?
Cooler.
It's the 50s. You know, so like that's
Hot
the, like,
dogs
the whole...
and gelatin kind of bullshit.
Exactly, yeah. And like where you would like pin pineapple wheels onto turkeys and stuff.
How you made it fancy for dinner parties.
That's like the whole vibe that they're going for. But regardless, pie already sucks. It's just the worst dessert. Key lime pie, you are now doubling down.
You have no
fucking
taste.
waste.
I do like pie. I don't think it's the worst dessert, but key lime is absolutely revolting.
It's garbage.
Could you put some like sour pudding on crumbly dry bread?
Let's
That's
take
what
the
I want.
least enjoyable fruit. The kind we like add to drinks to like balance out bitterness and make an entire pie out of it.
Can you? What's the fruit that's named after the disease you get when a tick bites you? Why don't we make a pie out of that?
That
Thank
one.
you.
Should we make it taste like the inside part that's a little bit better? No, let's make it taste like the rind. Let's make it taste as gross as possible.
Oh, and then also for no reason, throw the word key on top. Nobody knows why. Great, thank you.
It's festive.
Fancy. There is, okay, we're talking about things that we didn't remember, trying to pick up the pieces. Does the One Hunter X5, was this guy even part of it? Because the way they introduced him and he came in so fucking hard, I was like, this guy did not exist.
This is
guy-
the Brad one, right?
Yeah.
He was not in season 1.
Okay. Because the way he came in and he instantly, like, hated fucking Mobius and was, like, giving him sass, I was like, they're covering their... Like, this person did not exist.
So what I can gather, and again, I don't know what I'm talking about. I loved these 2 episodes. I just want to get that on the record real quick before we dive in.
Yeah, good episodes, even though it sounds like we have issues.
I wanted to keep watching them. I was confused the entire time, but wanted to keep watching.
There's these 3 like board members, and one of them super bored because he's asleep, which I fucking loved. Like that's such a good touch that we just don't get in Marvel because Marvel can't be weird. That's so weird that one of the guys is just snoring the entire time. But
Especially while their entire system is crumbling.
Yeah.
They don't even bother to wake him up either. They're just like, you know.
There's decisions to be made, my man. Like, you should wake up. But one of the board members has a right-hand man who I think was cast because Owen Wilson can't have the only incredibly weird, broken, beat-up nose on the show. This guy's weird. This guy's nose gives him a run
It's
for the
in
money.
his contract.
And so he is sent to hunt for Sylvie and then it's like Joey Pants from The Matrix. He's like, oh, wait, if I just stay down here, I can, fuck the girl in the red dress and I can eat steak. Like this is awesome, just being a superstar. And I think the late 70s is when they said he was. And then we get him back to the TBA, and now we have another classic smarmy Marvel character, another quippy, shit-eating grin kind of classic Marvel character.
Yeah.
I mean, did he work for you guys? Did you enjoy watching him?
I did.
You did?
Yeah, I thought it was. I thought it was good balance because Loki can't be the villain now.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't mind him at all.
Episode 1, I was like, fuck this guy, get him off the screen. I hope he never comes back. He won me back more in episode 2 when he was like more, I don't know, I guess less of a douchebag. Still a douchebag, but like you saw kind of past it a little bit. But episode 1, I was ready to, like, the way he just stood in the back with his little gloves that said X and 5, just like hanging on his fucking like little vest. I was like, fuck
But
this
you
guy.
need
Get him.
someone on screen to hate.
Yeah, and I did. So he's actually doing really well.
I always have somebody on screen to hate because of the way that the reflection hits my TV. I can always see myself.
Just be like,
In episode 1, he was like a soldier, like a douchebag soldier. Episode 2,
Yeah.
he is a egomaniacal actor, and so it's
Yeah.
almost 2 different characters. I thought he was great in the interrogation scene. The
Yes.
one thing I didn't super buy all the way is that he would actually be able to worm his way under Loki's skin like that and get Loki full of rage. He was an asshole, But I don't think you could do that to Loki.
I feel like Loki's been told so much worse. Like,
Yeah,
you're not even
exactly.
going to scratch the surface of, what Loki's been called.
Right.
Yeah, during that interrogation scene, when he was trying to get under Loki's skin, they were trying to get information from him. He had like a little launch pad or something that he had done other stuff too, and they're like, "You have answers, we need them," essentially. So when he was interrogating him, I kept thinking, and it was like getting to him. I thought it was like part of the plan, but then his plan just kept failing. But then it was going nowhere. So I was like, "Is it, or is he just getting annoyed?"
And Loki and Mobius, or Lomo, as I call them, they are both together. They are a balance, but they're also now working in this world of mischief, and they're trying to get around X5 and keep him on his toes, but also us too. Like very clearly the writers like to fuck with us when the two of them are involved. And it's not super twisty and turny, but by the end of episode 2, we're not able to trust them. When Mobius is banging on the door saying, "Loki, don't do this, Loki, don't do this," it's all part of the act. We're supposed to believe that Mobius is genuinely concerned for what Loki's about to do, but it's all part of the act.
Yeah. We do have so there's a lot of, obviously this thing's all about, now we have a lot of timelines. In the first episode, Loki was like, I'm gonna say time sick. That's not the term they used, but he kept going between
Time slipping.
Time slipping. Thank you. And normally during like anything with like time traveling, going back and forth normally gets so confusing. They did do a good job of just like, hey, he's just going back and forward. And I was like, thank you so much. I needed this. There's a lot of like crazy terms they're throwing out there. Like I think the time loom is this machine that handles all of the timelines essentially. Like they were throwing a lot at us that was nonsense, but also you could still kind of follow it.
The time slipping looked awful to go through and then like to watch. And there's a couple of characters who had to like witness it, and they looked like they were about to vomit. And it looked very painful for Loki to go through. My question is, do you guys think it stunk? Like when he was
like
in the
did he rip ass every time he did it?
like when he was in the elevator and then he would time slip and then come back. Do you think there was like a smell, like a little funk that came with it?
Gotta be.
Okay.
Yeah.
We did get introduced in that first episode. Their new friend OB, fucking delightful, guys. What a gift we got this season. Did you know he was going to be on this?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Oh, I had no idea. So a true delight to witness him.
Yeah, I mean, like he's doing the tour, right? Like he's doing the pop culture car wash of I'm back. I have returned to pop culture. I have my Oscar, and now I'm gonna show up in everything I can. And so, yeah, I'm gonna take this job at Marvel, and he's not that much different than the characters he usually plays. It would have been cool to see him do something other than a tech guy, fixing things. Like I do think he has more of a range of character than that, but it's still good to see him.
I think people so associate his voice with like joy that they pitfall him into, like they corner him into a character who's got to be quirky but happy always, or like his voice just has a very joyful quality to it.
I don't think he can be a villain.
No. You just automatically love that guy.
Right.
I love him.
But did you think it was weird though that Ke Huy Quan, that's his name?
Uh-huh.
Ke Huy Quan. Yeah, and that they put Tom Hiddleston higher than him. So when they had Loki up here and then they had Loki down here.
Are you proud of all the work that took?
Was that
we had a visual aid to help us. I don't know
Yeah.
if everyone else got what you were going for there, but he was putting his hands high.
I was trying to low-key use my hands. Also, did you see that when Loki picked the pie, he took the bottom one. So he took the low-key lime pie and gave...
Great.
I have like 5 more.
This is what the people missed when we were covering Loki. They were like, "Where are these jokes? We need
Where
them."
is it connected?
I do feel like episode 1 and episode 2 kind of had different paces. Episode 1 was fast paced, but literally because we were working against a time constraint, essentially, to get Loki like back into the right timeline or present time or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, don't even try. Just
To stop him from
something
being
and move
gross
on.
on screen. And
Yeah. And then the second episode, it was like, we got to get Sylvie, and it just was like that was the mission, and then the time constraint, it started to pick up once they saw that there was like a whole mission to take out the other timelines, and that's when it started to pick up. But there was a lot where it was moving a bit slower, and it like lost me for a little, but it was still an enjoyable time.
I think what's so crazy, like I think right there, Cassie, you're clearly explaining why Loki the show works and so little of recent Marvel works at all. And it's because you're saying the first episode this is very confusing in a way that Marvel rarely is, right? Marvel is it's supposed to be for children, and yet we're all in the three of us are in our late 40s and we're still talking about it. But in the first episode they were here and they had to go here, even with all the timey-wimey stuff. And then in the second episode they were here and they had to go here, and we knew the missions and they were focused. And we introduced characters, and we had that whole scene with X5, and we were entertained by that. And then we had Loki and Mobius, and we were entertained by that. But we had missions, and they were focused. And it wasn't just an endless string of random scenes that were supposed to introduce characters for future TV shows and future movies and had no connection whatsoever. This was a clear story being told over 2 episodes.
Also, each of the missions was very specific to pieces of a larger mission, without feeling like, well, you could have solved everything if you just fixed that one thing. They didn't trap themselves in, well, now what are we going to look for? Like, it should have been already figured out by now. They did necessary small missions for a bigger mission, which was great.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the larger Marvel feels like a D&D campaign where it's like, oh, I don't know, let's just meander, which is, that's how D&D has to work because it's not scripted, you know?
Because characters can do whatever they want on the moment, but this isn't, it's an improvised.
Right. It's not improvised, guys.
That was the whole time watching it. I was just like, it felt refreshing to be back here because this I literally was like, this feels like a show that they care about. Like, there's so many shows where it's just like, let's throw shit at the wall. People will watch it. We'll get numbers. Fuck it. Do whatever. This one, like, it seems like people were like, no, let's make a show, essentially. Like, the look of it, it's a consistent look. Everything is fucking rad. There's clear storylines all leading to something. Like, you can feel that it's building to something. And that's exciting to feel again with Marvel.
There's something going on. I have a couple of theories. One, that Loki is maybe just has a particularly good showrunner where others just didn't. 2, Loki, like based on the whole multiverse of it's part of this new storyline, that Loki is kind of the spine of what's going on right now. Or Marvel's kind of freaking out right now. You know, I read the other day that Quantumania they thought was going to be this big hit and nobody liked it. And I don't know if you guys read.
Oof, that's a rough one for them.
I know, like that was a shock to them, and I don't know why.
But that's the thing is, I always wonder when they're like, "How did this not do well? Did you not watch it?
Did you see?"
They were like, "Tell me about it in 5 minutes, and I'll judge if it's good or not." But I don't know if you guys heard the news from the other day, but like there's like 6 or 7 episodes of Daredevil done. Shot, and they were like, this is fucking terrible, and they just threw them in the trash. $150 million down the toilet.
Good.
That's insane.
But also, way better, because I feel like last year Disney would have been like, we'll just put them out.
I didn't see that it was that they had episodes made. I just saw that they said like everything's been scrapped.
Yeah.
Or like the like writing, like everyone was brought on new for it, essentially. And I was like, oof. But I didn't know they straight up like had episodes and were like, no.
That's what I read was that I don't know where all that budget could have gone and less episodes were shot, but $150 million, they just said it's worth it to flush it.
I hope it's good then. I hope they're all like after this, like following the lead of this show because it's so good. And it does help that like your leads are fucking Tom Hiddleston and Owen Wilson. Like they're just like they work well together. They both are great actors. Like they can really carry a scene. Like the scenes where Owen Wilson is worried about his skin coming off. Like so
him
good.
writing that on the dusty computer. I loved it the whole time. You could tell he's just even silently obsessing over it in a little moment. His face looks worried. He's distracted, not focusing on what's being said. It's brilliant.
It's so good. I think it's clear we're kind of out of time to talk about Loki. But I think it's clear, like, I'm definitely in for this season. It's so good. It feels like Marvel is, not to quote The Walking Dead, but Marvel's back, baby. We're in it. We got it. And I'm excited for this season. Are you guys are both on board?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Before we cut though, I do want to go to moments of the week. McKenna, you already talked about mine. The way he just like so sadly, like not saying a word, wrote skin ? In dust on a computer as they're talking about this big plan, and he's just worried about his skin coming off. Delightful.
I was almost a little sad when they made that the marker of how Loki found out he was in the future. I wanted that to just be like a silent little moment of like him just like, if you caught it, you caught it. If you didn't, you didn't. Like, hopefully you saw this. I was almost a little sad that it got like a bigger feature because I love that it was just this silent little act of him in the background. Like everyone's talking about, here's what we got to do. Here's how we're going to fix things. And he's like, my skin.
my skin.
Also, the look on his face when all of a sudden there's just a crack on his windshield on his costume or his hazmat suit or whatever.
His space suit.
And OB, who's like this technical genius, is just like, oh, here, and just duct tapes it, you know? Like, we just duct tape things here. It's the future.
And he did not question it. He was just like, cool, like, fine with it. Do you have a different moment of the week, Books, or was that also yours?
That was also mine, and sorry for spoiling it for both of us. I did like the line where Brad just looked at Loki dead in the eyes and was like, you're a villain, and you're good at it. Do that.
Yeah. Oh, there was one thing. There was a moment in the war room where the interrogator hit us with a make it make sense. And there was also fucking X5 said, like, it's you're the problem. Like, do they know? They're doing this, right? They know they're saying these phrases.
This is all meta talk to the audience. Right?
Yeah.
The make it make sense is please help us with these scripts because everyone's confused. And you're the villain. I think that's the hack tag of season 1 is like, no, Loki was the best villain Marvel had. Why are you doing this? So I think that they are talking directly to the audience.
Gotcha.
What did you guys think of in the key lime, the low key lime scene where Loki was like, no, we all have rage accidents. I had a little oopsie. They called it the Avengers movie. Like, was that okay to do?
I was like, hell yeah, let's
I had
burn it
to
all
rewind because I thought I misheard. I was like, there's no way they did that.
And they were like, it's literally like somebody wrote it. They're like, you think this will go through? They're like, fuck it, let's see.
Try it.
Make a bet.
For like a decade, they called that like, the incident or something? Like the New York,
Yeah.
devastated New York. So no, I just had a rage. I had a rage blackout. I chose violence.
Ryan, your moment of the week.
I got a good and a bad, Cassie. I love the actress Wunmi Musaku, who plays X-15. I've seen her in a lot of things at this point. She was in the last David Chase show. She was in what's that? One show with the book. Doesn't matter. Lovecraft Country. She's great in everything she's in. And she's been great in this. She was great in season 1. But they asked her to do a lot, I think, which is make us all feel real sad that the timelines were all disappearing at the end. And there was a close-up on her going like, they're all dead.
Those were people.
Those were people. And
the whole time, it's just shown as the shittiest graph you've ever seen of like a line and a bunch of
blowing
lines
up
coming off of it. And she like really had to sell it of like, no guys, you have to get it that shitty line is a lot of people. We need to be attached to this.
So I have a different take. I don't think that was that much of her acting so much as they never gave us a reason to care about those timelines.
Yeah.
No,
exactly.
They said let's bring in the best actor on the cast and have her save our ass, and it just wasn't enough.
It wasn't
lift
enough.
this, carry it through. That was your bad. What about your good, Ryan?
My good was I got the asshole of my mind blown out. I know that I'm a little bit older than you. There's somebody who I completely forgot about as far as pop culture characters go. Sylvie lands in Broxton, Oklahoma, which is actually an important city in Marvel lore. I have a 10-minute dissertation on the importance of that. So we're going to bump the pull list and Spider-Man and the Shushies tonight so I could tell you guys about Broxton. And she goes into a McDonald's and orders everything and then ends up working there. But when she first walks in, she walks past a big tree with a smile on it. And I have not seen that motherfucker in 40, 30 years. So thank you for showing me that tree again. I forgot that tree existed.
I didn't even pick up on this tree. I gotta go back and find this little tree. Is he like your Ronald? Was he like...
No, fucker. I'm not that old. I had Ronald as a kid.
Ryan, we're friends this episode.
Oh, sorry. No, fucker, the friend.
Thank you.
But was the tree like a character?
I don't remember. I just remember the face. It was just a smiling tree, which if I showed you a picture of, you'd be like, oh, that's the creepiest motherfucking shit I've ever seen. But
A lot of stuff from your childhood is the creepiest shit I've ever seen.
What, like John Wayne Gacy? Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I just hadn't. With the internet, you're not allowed to forget about anything anymore. You know, like they're just constant reminders somewhere. And yeah, this tree with a smile, it brought me back.
We didn't even talk about the fact that Sylvie straight up, like, there was X5 chose to be a movie star, and Sylvie was just like, I want to work at a fucking McDonald's in the 70s.
She landed in Oklahoma. Working at McDonald's is being a movie star if you're in Oklahoma.
She is a kick-ass employee, too. Like, They were like, hey, this is going to need straws, and she, like, already did it. And you're like, fuck, you should be running that place, Sylvie. I know we said I don't have time to talk about Loki, but I forgot there's 20 minutes is spent like advertising McDonald's.
Oh yeah. They better have gotten a check.
It's insane.
This is the Mac and me of the MCU.
And
which, maybe 5 minutes to talk about the other humans on all these other timelines, so we actually give a fuck about them dying.
But no, let's see the entire of the McDonald's menu in the 80s.
I don't know why this reminded me. I do have one bad, and it wasn't the, not timelines. I hate when superhero movies do this or anything, regardless, but with people with powers. Sylvie and Loki, all they need to do was grab each other's hands and blow that fucking room apart. But instead, they choose to take crowbars and attack the villains one by one.
Okay, let's do 10 minutes of some kung fu, and then we'll clearly decimate everything.
Which I thought they were going to go after something that grabs it, they needed something protected so they could save. So, no, they just obliterated it.
Do you know what? They both think holding, and I don't disagree with them. They both think holding hands is icky, and they wanted to put it off for as long as possible.
I can't do that. Literally, we're just watching them go into timeline to timeline, killing, as they said, billions of people. We got to care about each of these lines, and they're just casually just like, okay, all right, cool. We're gonna stroll on over here, try to fuck them up here.
I got a stick I could hit it with, so it's fine.
We barely talked about this part, the most important part, because I didn't know who General Dox was. I barely understood. So we talked about McDonald's.
Again, we're out of time, but General Dox had such a weird moment with X5.
When they grabbed the bases, I was like, mother, son, lovers, what is going on?
She literally, they had a thing, they discussed, he was like, okay, I'm fucking out of here. I don't even remember what happened, and she was like, come here, and they just kind of touched foreheads and caressed. I was like, what the fuck is happening?
Somebody saw it. Didn't Loki see it? He was like, oh, that's a spank bank.
It made everyone
but it was never touched on again.
Never explained. It's got to be his mom or something.
Even if it is his mom, that's still uncomfy. That's weird.
It's very weird. It's very fucking weird. But what else? Unless he's just banging his superior, which he is a bootlicker, so maybe.
In this last season, are we out of time? In this last season,
we're super out of time.
This last season of Only Murders in the Building, there's a mother and son that just make out on the mouth all season. So I just assume that at the end they're gonna reveal that it's a facade, they're clearly lovers, and that at the end they're just mother and son, and that's just never explained.
No, I can't have it. Again, we're super out of time. So Ryan, I need a real quick. I promised you I'd let you talk about a website that you want to build. But I gotta cut it down. Give me a quick 20-second rundown of what this website's gonna be, and I'll see if I'll greenlight it.
Oh, you know what it is. Greenlight. Speaking of greenlight, we're obviously talking about www.lokilimepie.com.
Hell yeah.
This is a website where you cannot buy a pie, and this does not discuss the TV show Loki. This is a website that celebrates the single greatest comedy moment in podcast history, and it's from earlier tonight when I said all of those things. And it's it's where you can go and like make flash animation of me saying it. You could maybe write poems about that moment.
The people are gonna want to do that. This is needed.
It's a $50 a month subscription fee to
what a steal.
just be on the website just to look at it, and then to put your poems up. That is a $100 a month subscription fee.
Smart. Get them double. Get them twice.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? A smart businessman like you, I probably don't need to tell you, but I'm going to send you over to my friends, cybersprout.net, because they make beautiful websites, Ryan. They're going to help you make such a good website. Everybody's going to be going there. That's because they're well-versed in digital strategy and elegant design. Fucking elegant. Elegant like that key lime pie, bro. They work hand in hand with you. They focus on collaboration. It's also easy to manage. If you want to get in there, make your own little website, they do it. They got custom templates, drag and drop tools. But to you, I'd say Cybersprout, take my baby. This is an important website. I need the money. Cybersprout.net, your partner for a digital world. Coming up next, it's the Shushies. We are back, and it's time to give away another Shushi. We're week 2 of Shushi. This week, Ryan, first week you figured out best ensemble.
Mm-hmm.
This week, it's down to the villains. We got to figure out our best villain.
Well, I mean, worst villain, right?
Best, worst, worst, best.
Because like they're so good at being bad, they're the worst.
Yeah, like they've murdered so much. Gotta respect it.
You gotta respect the amount they murder. Yes, Cassie, you're a fucking freak. By the way, Harley
Gold
Quinn.
star murdering.
I'm saying it right now. I'm putting this on the board. Harley Quinn won Best Ensemble, I believe, last week. There was no Resident Alien this year, and there was no The Boys this year. This is fucking it. This is Harley Quinn is going to fucking crush for the rest of the year.
You think everything? You think Harley Quinn has the best villain? You're calling it for this one even?
Oh, I'm saying that they will. I bet you they will win more Shushis than they won't.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's a great show. It's amazing.
It's a good show. It is a good show.
Is good. Ryan, when you're thinking of a villain, and you're trying to describe villain, what comes to mind? How would you describe villain?
I would say like wears a hat, headphones, watching two dogs, hosts podcast.
Interesting.
I'm just kidding, Cassie. It's not you because you're my friend tonight.
We're friends, Ryan. We're
well, I
friends.
can't. I have to put a Post-it note in front of me that says Ryan plus Cassie equals friends. No, I will. You know, the classic answer is, and I do believe this, even though it's cliche, is I want you on the screen as much as the hero. You need to be three-dimensional. If it's just like money or power, if you're just like a Republican, then that's boring. Like that's two-dimensional and boring. I want to. I don't want to agree with your motivation necessarily, but I want to understand it. You know, there has to be an arc to you as well. So it can't just be a robot with no rhyme or reason. Yeah. Well, rhyme. You can definitely have rhyme.
Yeah, it's fun if you rhyme.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome.
Books is our resident smart person who reads. How would you describe?
All right, whoa.
Ryan,
she can have it.
I feel like the villain always has to have some quality in them that you almost root for in a way, not in a sense that you want them to actually win, but you understand why they're. My biggest pet peeve is when Ryan said like the one-dimensional or flat villains. I absolutely agree. I don't love when villains have no like logic behind their villainous ways, I guess. I like knowing the complexity because I think we draw on why are people just shitty people too, and like there's always a complexness behind that too. So yeah, I think that the logic or the rationale of why they become a villain needs to be present for me to appreciate their villain ways.
And that's what we're going to do. We're here to appreciate villain ways and see who is the best. Books, you're going to help us here. We passed off the nominations to you. If you can go ahead and run down the list of who all is nominated.
Yeah, absolutely. So Cassie, and I may have misunderstood my role. I thought I was asking you the first villain nomination. I am. Okay. See, Cassie, can you tell us who our first nomination for best villain is?
No, you
No.
are telling her, and then she's going to tell you.
See,
all
and
about
I
him.
misunderstood my role. This is why I shouldn't. You see, I'm smart, and I fuck up. Cassie, our first nominee for best villain is Ben from Heartstopper.
Okay, Ben, aka Little Bitch. Listen, I know, God, he's a kid trying to figure out his sexuality, but my God, is he a fucking piece of shit. Like, in the ranking of Heartstopper people who you wanted to hate, Ben's up there because he hurts our precious little Charlie. And you can't fucking do that. And then it turns out, he's, we knew it, but they really drew on this line of, he straight up, forced himself on it multiple times. Fuck this guy. He deserves to get decked. He deserves to get embarrassed on the school field trip in front of everybody. Some kids are just pieces of shit, and they kind of need to be brought down. Gay allies, sometimes they're bad.
I don't. Sometimes maybe it's bad to bully the bullies, but sometimes it also feels fucking good to watch bullies eat their own shit.
Sometimes you really need to see a bully fucking go down, and God, does it feel good?
When the bully thinks they're the only ones with problems, they need that wake-up call of being bullied.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this guy gets told off by Charlie and then just disappears from the show. And the show is better for it.
It's so good.
All right. I think it's time we move on to our next nominee. Cassie, our second nominee for Best Villain is Buggy from One Piece.
Okay.
One Piece get nominations.
Okay.
No one saw this coming, right?
Okay.
No.
One Piece, a show I famously loved. There is
Yeah.
Buggy. Buggy, there's something about it. Again, the clown that everybody wanted to fuck and they didn't know why. This is a villain who kind of compels you. He's a clown, so he's already scary. You already know, can't trust this guy. But he also, he's got to put on a show, and he's here for a flair of dramatic, and I got to respect that in a villain. I got to respect a villain who's here's my show of freaks. I will chain an entire crowd to here, and I will make you guys laugh. I respect it, honestly.
Enslave an entire village just to watch his shitty clown show.
Yeah, and he's just so unhinged. The way he screams "chop chop," that's how Ryan felt about Luffy whenever he screamed his little dumb shit. That's how I. That's how I am with Buggy. There's something about this clown where he was just so entertaining. You did hate him, and he did have a power, he could just kind of separate himself and attack you from wherever. You got to be afraid of that. That's a good villain move. But also then he just kind of is a piece of shit.
Also, shushy lore. How many shushies does this actor already have?
Do you know? He's a beloved.
Probably 4. I'm guessing maybe 4 shushies.
So he's already gonna get that bump. But yeah, he did great in the role, and he was one of the, when you think of the villains from this season, he's one of the ones that always I first think of. I think he's probably the first one I think of.
Yeah.
That's good to know because the name does not inspire villainous thoughts. So,
Buggy?
Good.
Buggy.
Yeah. Buggy. All right, Ryan, our third nominee for Best Villain is Dr. Anthony Vo from My Adventures with Superman.
Yeah, Superman villains are tough because Superman has a lot of powers, but this guy is we do get to watch this guy go from crazy asshole human to overpowered tech. Then he becomes, I think I'm thinking of the right guy. He becomes sort of cyborg.
Yeah, he kind of takes on, every time he gets electricity, he gets bigger. I think it's that little guy.
Oh, right. And then just becomes a big building fucking Bane that
Yeah.
walks across the entire city.
I think that's
That's
the boy.
right. Yeah, and then he just becomes more psychopathic but more possessed with killing Superman. And because Superman, he was a crypto techie guy who wanted all the fame and the power, and Superman stole that from him. And once that carpet gets pulled out from underneath you, then you need revenge.
Superman becomes his white whale.
Yeah, and then also we've talked so much about how we love the voice acting in Superman because it's not cartoony. It's not let's get the biggest star. And the voice actor of Anthony Vo, who I should have in front of me, but I don't. has this perfect line between grounded human and crazy cartoon character, where he's like right in the middle of those two without ever falling one way or the other.
Impressive. All right. I think that's enough on Dr. Anthony Vo. But with our fourth nominee, we are not leaving My Adventures with Superman, Ryan. We are going to talk about General Lane.
Superman villains, usually people are like, Superman sucks in part because he doesn't have any good villains, but look at what we have here. General Lane is the daddy, the daddy of the show, the daddy of our podcast. Cassie, like, what is the arc of this guy throughout the series?
I mean, it's always like, here's like fucking army general, piece of shit guy, hates Superman, like is all about like take him down at whatever cost. And then you kind of realize then it's like, hey, he's also a daddy. And then he's like, would you like to be your daddy? And you're like, I absolutely would. And then he's kind of like, hey, I'm kind of a good guy, but I'm also still here to like serve my country. And you're kind of like, well, eat shit. But then he like is like, I gotta protect my girl, Lo. And you're like, absolutely you do. I kind of respect you. And then he just becomes like your little daddy. Is that the proper arc? Did I follow it?
Oh, man. I think that there are fan fiction that are written in the way that you just.
I think Cassie has read those based off of.
I've written them.
I will say this, comparing this to another General Lane from a different show that we watched, Superman and Lois, I think that they sort of wasted it. Like, General Lane on that show spent maybe one episode or two being like, I'm military and I'm mean and I hate you, Clark. Just kidding. I love you. You're the best. I'm going to be your grandpa. And this General Lane is a fucking asshole. Just like militaristic and has this goal. And you can see him realizing that the goal is wrong. That like he set his sights in the wrong place, but it's too late. He's too proud to like come back and change his goal. And like that's the worst kind of person. That's the worst kind of person in power. And that's what he is.
All right. Moving on to our fifth Best Villain nominee. We have Lex Luthor from Harley Quinn. Ryan, can you tell us about Lex Luthor from Harley Quinn?
That's a fucking Superman villain. God damn it. Lex Luthor in Harley Quinn. Again, one of our many Lex Luthors is played by Giancarlo Esposito, I want to say. From Breaking Bad?
I'm going to have to say yes to you. I don't know for sure.
Oh, just sit there, Cassie. Don't look it up. Just
I never learned how to type. I don't know words.
It's okay. You can't read, you can't type. That's totally fine.
She can only read fan fiction.
But in this season, he became an absolute star by becoming an absolute piece of shit. He appoints, and it's not just like doing evil, it's treating our girl, Poison Ivy, like a bitch. Appoints her to like becoming the number 2 at the Justice League or the League of Doom or whatever they are, and just goes full villain diva, takes over the world, basically pulls a Mr. Burns from Who Shot Mr. Burns and invents something that covers up the sun to take over the entire Earth. What an absolute asshole in this season.
This, I was going to say, first of all, looked it up. It is Giancarlo. You were absolutely right, Ryan. And also I did learn how to type. It's a miracle. But he, like, so when because I've been in and out, when I was thinking of Lex Luthor, I was picturing him at his own party when he had all the powers of Superman, but only used lasers and held a little chihuahua. So in my mind, not that powerful, not that big of a deal.
Oh, and also used some of those powers to give himself hair.
Yeah. Give hair.
He stole Superman's hair. He just took it right off. A little curl and everything on his forehead. Beautiful. All right. That's enough about Lex Luthor from Harley Quinn. But Cassie, for our final Best Villain nominee, we are not done with Lex Luthor. It is Lex Luthor from Superman and Lois. Right. I mean, you said there were not a lot of Superman villains. All of your nominees are Superman villains.
I mean, first of all, a couple things. Superman, people are finally realizing how great Superman is and Superman villains. And also, Mike and Caitlin vote for these awards.
Yeah.
All right, that explains so much.
Fucking diehards for this shit. I feel like Superman and Lois, or My Adventures, that's the one we're dealing with, right? Is My Adventures?
No, My Adventures is General Lane.
This one
My Adventures has not introduced, well, maybe they've introduced Lex Luthor. We don't know. This is the ginger from Walking Dead who plays Lex Luthor on Superman and Lois. Do you remember him?
I don't, and Caitlin's gonna murder me for this. So cover me.
Okay.
Cover me, Ryan.
So in the fourth season of Superman and Lois, Lex Luthor gets out of jail. He was put in jail because of a Lois Lane story from like years ago. And then he drives over to their house and he just stands outside and he's like, I got put in jail because of you, bitch, and I fucking hate you. I'm going to get revenge. And then just dedicates his life to making their lives terrible. He creates a bizarro Superman. He just spends every hour of every day fucking their lives up. And it's crazy and creepy.
And on that note, Cassie, did you have something to add before we figure out who our best villain is?
No, I'm just gonna place a bet. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be a Superman villain. I just want to put that out there. So you can go ahead and tell us the winner. I'm placing on Superman villain.
It's tough odds. Tough odds. But Cassie, you are right, and the winner is General Lane from My Adventures with Superman.
The person that Cassie tonight called Daddy 17 times in 1 minute.
Daddy deserves it. Daddy
won.
Daddy, come to the studio whenever you want. You can pick up your award. That is it. We've done it. We found the best villain, and now it's time to talk about the other shows.
Clapping in 3, 2, 1.
We are back for the pull list where we talk about all the other shows we watched this week. First show starting it off is The Walking Dead, Daryl Dixon.
Oh, I want to do Gen V first.
Nope, Daryl Dixon, go.
On this week's episode of Daryl Dixon, Daryl and Laurent travel to the nest. Taste buds, I ask you this. If you had to feed your babies in a nest by chewing up food and spitting it into their mouths, what food would you choose to do?
Is gum an option?
If you want to feed your babies gum?
It's not substance.
It's the only thing that doesn't sound like it will gross me out if it misses. Like, have you seen babies eat? They get it fucking everywhere.
Is gum a food?
I don't think so, but I just know I won't vomit on top of my child after he smears it all over his face because it's gum.
Isn't that what birds are doing? Isn't it borderline vomit?
Yeah.
It's basically vomit.
Have you seen those birds, those baby birds, that when they open their mouths, there's like dots on their beak around their mouth that look like eyes? I need to send you guys this picture and the picture of the tree with a face.
I have seen. It's like a defense mechanism, right? They open their mouths and they look like a bigger bird.
Yeah.
I'm glad
Disgusting.
you know this because I think he's fucking crazy.
This is a real thing.
Daryl Dixon is Sundays on AMC.
Oh, wait, hold on. Follow-up question. Have you guys seen this TikTok trend that talks about how there is an Orange County specific word?
Yes.
Did you grow up in Orange County, Mac?
No, and it's the weirdest fucking shit ever.
Okay.
What is wrong with you guys?
Cassie, did you grow up in Orange County?
Nope, and I don't know the word.
Okay. So, do you have a word for if you ask for some of my water, okay, and you drink some of my water, but you don't want your lips to touch my water bottle, so you hold it out and pour it and then drink from your pour. Do you know what that's called?
A waterfall?
Waterfall. Because it makes sense.
You fucking Riverside hillbillies.
What do you call it, little bitch?
It's called birdieing.
Birdieing does not make sense.
How?
It's gross if you think about it.
Because the
You're
water
not
bottle is the mama
putting
bird.
it in your mouth and spitting into theirs.
Is this truly just... I thought that this was a worldwide thing. Why would this only be in this one corner of the planet?
Because Orange County knew it was never going to be L.A., but they wanted to be known for something. So they chose this hyper-specific, weird-ass nickname for something.
But who chose? Who did this? John Orange County, the king of the county?
It was
how did it spread? How only in this localized area? Because I won't lie, that is something that like a Riverside kid would hear and be like, hey, I want to be more like Orange County. I'm going to start spreading this. And it should have populated up at our schools.
Mm-hmm. But
by
it's so
default.
fucking weird. Like, you guys had one fucking pervy creep who was like, you know what? Let's call this fucking birdie.
Do you know how
Drink it like it's a bird that's vomiting into your mouth.
Do you know how badly John Riverside, the king of Riverside, wanted to be John Orange County, the king of Orange County?
This is specific to our little area.
It was a desperate need because it's instilled in all of us. We were always told we were not good enough to grow up in Orange County.
Let's tell producer Dave to cut all of this. This should be deleted from the podcast.
Again, Daryl Dixon is Sundays on AMC. Our next show is Gen V.
On the third and fourth episodes of Gen V, Andre asks Emma for a favor. And the gang meets Tech Knight, whose name sounds like Ted Knight. Taste buds, I ask you this. Do you know who Ted Knight is?
Never heard of him.
No.
All right.
Was he a tree that sat in front of McDonald's?
Okay.
With a smile?
Listen. He's like an actor from the late 70s, early 80s. He's always like, oh. And he's always like the rich guy who's mad at the poor people. Can you guys look this person up? Do I have to send you a picture of this person?
Yeah, add this to the list.
He's like the villain in so many comedies.
I also need you to send a clip of him because there's no way this is the sound that he makes in every fucking movie.
If I went up to
Wait,
anybody,
that is the sound he makes. I just looked him up.
if I went up to anybody that is like 10 years older than you guys, I went, oh, they'd be like, oh, Ted Knight.
I know him from the Mary Tyler Moore and the
Mary
Love
Tyler
Boat.
Moore, Caddyshack is his big one.
Again, Books is coming through and making it seem like you're not crazy. I'm glad you have this friend now. Gen V is Fridays on Amazon Prime. That is it for the pull list. Let's get to what we're excited about. That's Spider-Man. Let's go. Welcome to Estaz Bitch, a mini show within a show where we take an in-depth episode-by-episode look at Fox's seminal and underrated early morning cartoon from the mid-90s, Spider-Man. This week, we watched Kraven the Hunter. And guys, when we started off, we're instantly introduced to just this fucking buff guy tearing up a lab and wanting to kidnap a lady. Like, we're off to the races instantly.
One of it turns out thousands of labs, generic labs across New York City. She's constantly like, oh, fuck, my lab. I got to find a new lab. Lab.com, do you have another lab for me? Oh, yeah, come on down. We have a new lab for you.
The amount of time she's in the middle of science and just calls up a friend who's like, hey, science guy, I need your lab. Is it cool if I come over? It's my lab now. And they're just like, of course, bring your science.
Oh my God, did your science get interrupted? Well, come on down to my lab and continue your science.
My lab
Considering
currently
the way her science continues to get interrupted, it's surprising that people are still willing to lend out labs for her science.
Like, she has burned
Seriously.
all of her friends, all of her science friends.
New York lab owners. Question number one when anybody calls you. Do you know Kraven the Hunter? If so, hang up the phone.
Hang up. But yeah, there's this buff guy. His name's Sergey, and he's like, "Hey, come back with me. I love you." And Peter just shows up for an interview with this lady scientist, Mariah, I believe.
Oh yeah,
Mariah, and he sees that she's like straight up trying to get kidnapped by this buff guy, and is like, "Well, damn." So he becomes Spider-Man. She like climbs up. She's like trying to get away from him, so she climbs up to the top of the like building because why not? That's where you got to go when you're trying to get away.
Escape
King
up
Kong
always,
rules, right?
because that's the better route.
Yeah.
So of course Spider-Man comes. She falls. Spider-Man comes and saves her. And then at that point, Peter and Kraven, they get in a fight, which ends with him hanging over the side of a building. And at which point you're like, great. That's a wrap on Kraven. We've done it. But we find out that Kraven has taken his friend captive.
Yeah, but that's like 3 fights from the beginning,
Yeah.
Cassie. We have so much to go over.
Well, damn.
Because Spider-Man interrupts this first fight and gets rid. Kraven's like, well, I gotta go. Hello, I have to go. I'm Kraven the Hunter. And Spider-Man says, yeah, fine, be gone. And then the doctor's like, can you save me? Can you protect me, please? And Spider-Man's like, oh, I don't handle domestic disputes.
Yeah.
It's like, What the?
Sorry, that criminal offense is a little below my.
That
pay grade.
fucking psychopath wearing a lion's head is below my pay grade somehow.
This is the one where he straight up just yeets him off the building and is very chill about it, huh? He's just like,
Right.
well,
And he's convinced that's all it took. He's like, yeah, he's gone now. Don't worry about it. Let's take you somewhere safe.
yeah.
And then reminds her that domestic disputes are not usually my territory. As though that's not a crime.
That's just like, look, boys will be boys. If you're
Don't take one if you don't want to get pushed around every now and then.
Look, scientist, you shouldn't have been wearing what you're wearing. Otherwise, this wouldn't have happened to you. I'm
This is on
Spider-Man.
you.
Goodbye.
Bye. But we do.
So yeah,
we get a beautiful.
Go ahead. Sorry.
We get a beautiful moment of they're like swinging around. He's saved her, quote unquote saved her, and they're flying around New York. And they now have to tell us who Kraven is. So we get a beautiful moment of her taking this chance while they're swinging around New York City to tell us all about Kraven. And we get a flashback to Kraven in Africa.
Okay, it's not a flashback. That is a flash show. We got the whole fucking story.
Yeah, hell yeah, we did.
In a 19-minute episode, by the way, 19 minutes. A solid 8 minutes is in Africa of her just saying, I fell in love with this dude because we were sitting there talking and a snake came out and he grabbed it. And then I crawled towards him and sat in a fire because animation is terrible to give him a little kiss.
Yeah. They like she had to go find a colleague who was like working on a formula to like heal wounds. Turns out that formula turns him into like essentially a lion, a little beast of a man.
Cassie, this is 3 out of 6. 3 episodes out of 6 so far that have involved formulas that turned you into an animal.
Yeah.
What is going on?
Animorphs
in the
was fucking
mid-90s?
huge.
Is this it? Animorphs is so fucking popular that the creators of Spider-Man is like, we gotta fucking strike on this goal.
You gotta turn people into animals,
But
bro.
warn against it, essentially. We're going to be on the bad side.
Yeah.
Because Animorphs are
Part
good
animal
guys?
makes you the bad guy.
Because I swear to God, if I ever ran into an Animorph, about halfway through that transition, I would just beat the hell out of it. Like,
Yeah, you
that's
just
not a
gotta
good guy
stop
to me.
it in the middle.
Not letting you get there.
Oh, Fred, let me help you. And then just punch as hard as I can.
Like at the point when it's losing its arms as it's trying to turn into something else, like fucking strike then, bro. That's your moment.
Because man or woman, powerful. Full on beast, powerful. Halfway in between, weak as
Weak as
hell.
shit.
Just punch the hell out of it.
In the middle of the,
That's when it's screaming in pain.
when we're in this Africa flashback, we see a moment where Mariah gets in trouble and is surrounded by, I'm gonna say like 48 fucking hyenas.
All of the world's hyenas.
Every hyena that's ever existed surrounds her, and Kraven then has to fight. And then we just see this man literally yeeting dogs all across the screen. In the most wild scene I've ever witnessed.
Would you guys agree that like I've noticed that causing pain to dogs over the last couple of years has become taboo. Like people don't want to watch people hurt dogs. But hyenas, you can fuck a hyena up. And
Absolutely. No sympathy there.
Is this because of the Lion King? We just don't give a shit about hyenas.
Yeah.
We know that they're the villains of every story.
They're like the trash dogs. Those ones are fine. You can take those ones.
At one point, did he say hyena, more like hyena, and then threw it as far as he could?
Yeah, they really made sure to get that in the flashback. We then see after he's defeated them all, he's quote unquote seriously injured, which means his shirt is ripped open and you can see his pecs. That's it. That is how he is seriously injured. So she has no choice but to give him this formula that her colleague gave her, even though it's fucked up and she knows it. And he obviously starts turning into a beast. He starts craving the hunt. He then goes full drag and just says, "Call me Kraven the Hunter." He just pulls out a full persona, and she's like, "Fuck, I guess this is who you are now." And that
Is she like? Is she really scared of him? Or just a little bit, but also horny as shit for him?
She's horny as shit because he keeps that outfit even after he gets the antidote. He keeps his,
he's still in that. In his outfit, it is still a ripped shirt so you can see his fucking pecs, but it does have the face of like a tiger or a lion, so you see his little nippies and then you see the tiger's little eyes. So
And then a full lion's mane.
it's
Just wrapped around his shoulders.
it's drag as fuck and I respect it. I can't believe they did this. We then cut
They always have no choice but to go by another name.
yeah.
Like, well, I mean, I have a new personality now, but so I have to go by a new name. And this is drag. as
Sergio
fuck.
no longer fits me.
I'm no longer Sergey. Now I am
Neither do
Kraven
shirts.
the Hunter. We then get to the present, where Peter has dropped her off at a building, and she's like, "Hey, it won't be safe here. You don't understand. This dude can hunt." And he's like, "Bitch, we're like on a tall building, so you're gonna be fine."
We're over 10 blocks away. So,
Also, who the fuck would ever be Superman's friend? He just gives away your apartment if you just dip out for a few days.
Yeah, I had no idea that this was his friend's apartment. He was just like, "Oh, I know a guy who lives in a tall building. Let me drop you off at his place." But she realizes that she's not safe there. She knows Kraven's on the way, so she pieces out. Kraven, he is a good hunter though, so he knows that he's like on the scent. He's on the trail. At the same time, this friend comes back to his apartment and immediately gets a call from Jameson, who's like, "Why aren't you here? Why aren't you reporting? You got reporting to do." And he's like, "Well, damn, I must go."
Jameson calls him and says, "Newspapers, headlines, leads, stories."
He's like, "Okay, I know what this means. I'm on it, boss. I got it."
Wait, hold on. Let me write this down.
Newspaper leads.
Headlines. Okay, I understand.
I believe
Extra. Read all about it. Okay, I got you.
I got you. We cut to then Peter, who's at home in a fancy suit. We find out he's going to meet up with Mary J for a jungle-themed fashion show.
A jungle-themed fashion show, Cassie, you say?
It's a lot to unpack here.
In this week of all weeks.
He comes down in an outfit you would never fucking wear. Like a full tuxedo, cummerbund, like purple little get up. Like it was insane the outfit he chose. And he's like, "I'm clearly going to a fashion show. And yes, it's jungle themed." I was like, you're throwing so much at me here. There's a lot I'm just accepting. But he does go to it. He meets Mary J in the back and he's like, "You're going to do great." And then she goes out on the runway and he's like, "Wow, that outfit brings out the animal in me." And
he sees Mary Jane come out and he goes, "Awooga, awooga," and his eyes come out of his head and his jaw drops to the floor and his tongue comes all the way out. What's so nice about this though, Cassie, because it's we're watching a serious drama, is that he's with Mary Jane tonight and no other girl could get in his way.
No other.
Because this is a romance about just Peter and MJ, right?
Oh, you would think Ryan. But
What?
Don't you remember there was another girl? And I always
What?
get these two confused because Ryan, he's a bit of a player. He's got a lot of girls. This the rich girl, right?
Mm-hmm. This is the rich girl.
Yeah, the rich girl is there because she is obviously throwing this jungle-themed fashion show for charity, I believe, is what rich people do. So she like runs into him and she's like, "You're going to take me to the after party, right?" And previously Mary J was like, "Hey, let's skip the after party because I want to bang." So he was like, "Oh, what do I do now? I've got this whole situation." Luckily he doesn't have to figure it out because Kraven comes busting in. And
So I didn't grow up with Cravens busting in. Like that's not my experience. But the whole like fucking fashion shows, rich girl, model, both coming after me every night. Like this was my every night, guys.
I can only
Like,
imagine.
This episode speaks to me in a way where like finally I am seen on camera.
You were there.
You know? Like,
It must have been so difficult to not have this representation.
yes,
Until
finally
now.
like a show sees me for who I am, and that like there's these drama of like soldiers going off to war. Whoa. Or like police who have to like beat poor people. Like, but finally, like, there's a show that's like, what is it like to be a college student who dates a model, but then also a rich girl?
It's so hard. I'm glad you have this. I'm glad you can always have this and go back to it whenever you need. But yeah, he's in this dilemma, and then Kraven comes in. He takes the stage. He starts yelling for Spider-Man. Everybody thinks it's part of the show. They're very entertained. This is now.
Rich people are so fucking stupid.
Can we talk about the comment of when he makes his entrance?
Yeah, absolutely. There is the most savage person, aka my absolute hero, who he comes in his drag outfit, let's be clear again, and she's like, oh, it's the guy from Cats. Fucking got him.
The guy from Cats.
Like, there's one guy in Cats. Like, there's so many cats in Cats, I don't know which one you're talking about.
But he's just one of them. He's kind of a forgettable one, clearly. And I love that that's her first thought.
But Kraven didn't hear that, but I did. And I could never look at him the same again after that one person said that.
Like, she read him down so hard. She was like, this is a nasty little outfit. You must have come from Cats.
Not only could I now
The
see
off-Broadway
Kraven's
version,
asshole,
the like down the street phony version.
the alleyway version,
Yeah.
but now Kraven is now in my head Mr. Rambleshankles or whatever their fucking names
Skimbleshanks,
are.
thank you very much. But this is now, they get in the fight. This is the fight that I wanted to jump to. They're obviously go to the outside of the building because why not? Kraven then hangs from the ledge, and that's when he's like, yo, you know your boy, I got him. Your boy Robbie, by the way. His name is Robbie, Peter's friend.
Robbie Robertson.
Robbie Robertson. The guy who Jameson called away to go on reporting. Kraven kidnapped him, and he's like, if I go down, so does your boy Robbie. And now they're like, well, damn. Kraven says, meet me up at this spot, and we can like have a showdown or whatever. So they just kind of go their separate ways.
Yeah, he's got to bring the girl. He says, bring whatever her name is, Dr. Scientist.
Oh, Mariah or something like that.
Yeah.
Mariah.
Yeah. That's his condition. Is come with Mariah or don't come at all.
So Spider-Man then has to go find Mariah while Kraven sets up just a straight up trap. Just like working on like how you would trap a bunny. Like he's like, let me put a carrot underneath this box. I'm going to fuck this guy up.
It's going to fall right on you.
You put a net over like a hole with spikes in it. You put like a lasso on the ground that when you step in it, it like swings
right
up.
All the
cartoon classics.
He got them all. He knows them all. They're out there. This is one of the times when we cut to Mariah. She's working on some goo, and she's got to transfer to another science lab.
Well, look, Cassie, there's stuff in one beaker. And you have to pour that into another beaker.
You fucking got it. Do it.
That's how science works.
And when you run out of beakers, you need somebody else's beakers. Then we go back to Kraven. He's put Robbie in a cage because he is obviously... There's a cage and there's lions because why not? Kraven do Kraven. And then Spider-Man, he's like looking for the doc and he's like... They're like, how do we show that time's getting late? He straight up lands on a clock and is like, I'm running out of time, while he is on a fucking clock. And he can't find her, and he's like, hold on, I gotta change my plan. I gotta hunt the hunter. He must become the hunter. And now everything's fucking changed, you guys. He's like, of course, I gotta go to the African exhibit that just exists.
He sees an ad for the zoo, and it's inspiring.
Doesn't this speak to the power of advertising, the power of media?
It gives you all of the answers.
I missed the part where he saw a billboard, and I thought he just randomly was like, I know there's a building that just says African exhibit somewhere.
Hey, Spider-Man, go to the zoo, please.
Yeah. So he shows up there. He sees that his boy Robbie is bait. It's all a trap, but he's like, I gotta go in. I gotta do this. I think there's just like a whole little showdown. Like at first he runs into a rhino because...
Yeah, he fights all the animals. But the most important part of this entire Act 3 is that Kraven, the hunter, our big, burly Russian man, says most of his lines from behind bushes where they perfectly cover his face. And that is so adorable to me, where he will be like, Spider-Man would be like, Kraven, come out here. And Kraven will run behind a bush that will perfectly cover just the top and bottom of his face and be like, no, I won't. Bye. And then run to another bush. And he just keeps doing this for the entire night.
That's how hunters do. That's an elite predator right there.
And then he'll run out and he'll pull like an AK-47 out of his tiny vest, and then he'll shoot that and throw that away, and then pull a cannon, like a Civil War cannon, out of his tiny vest, and then he'll shoot that, and then he'll run away.
Like, at some point in this, he pulls out a smoke bomb. Like, I didn't think Kraven would be working with smoke bombs, but he absolutely is. It doesn't do much because, again, he has spidey senses, so he's like, fuck you.
They only work once, though.
Yeah, only one time. In the middle of their little scuffle, Mariah comes running in because she's got the antidote. She has made the proper antidote, the goo, all the science is paid off, and she can finally, like, heal this guy. But she comes running in, and she set off one of those traps that he set out of all those traps.
And that bitch gets soaked with water like Katy Perry at the Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Awards. Like, she gets hit in the face with water so hard.
She somehow...
And Kraven goes, "Niet! No, my love."
Yeah, she sets off, like, all these traps. Like, Robbie falls from the waterfall into the alligators. She is now with, like, fucking lions. Like, it all goes to shit.
She steps on a rake, which leads her to a step on another rake, which leads her to step on another rake.
Truly embarrassing.
That's the biggest problem. It's not the death, it's the humiliation.
Yeah.
Like, it's so
she's like,
embarrassing.
oh, I hope nobody saw this. We all did.
No.
We all did.
This is going to end up on TikTok.
Spider-Man goes to save his boy Robbie, while Kraven obviously got to get his girl. Then Spider-Man has to help him. He just kind of like puts up a gate again to like put the lions back, and we're all good. We're all set. That's all handled now. But Kraven, again, very hurt, you guys. And again, you just see his pecs. It's all it means is you see more pecs.
Oh my God, my muscles.
Bulging. But she gives him the antidote, and he's just like, he starts to become human again, and then we cut to Robbie, and he's like, why the fuck am I here? And you're like, great question.
Because he doesn't know that this is Peter Parker.
Yeah.
So this is fucking crazy for somebody like Robbie Robertson. She pours the antidote into Kraven's mouth, and he reacts like me when I was 5-year-old drinking cough syrup. Like, he's like, oh, ew,
Yucky.
God, it's so gross.
Again, an elite predator, Kraven the Hunter. He's yucky. But yeah, he's all better. They like sail off. We're like in the next morning, and they're like sailing off on a boat. And then while they have this good love story, we just, of course, got to cut to Peter being a little bitch. And it's just like, what the, like, this was my night. Why isn't my dick getting sucked? Like, what the fuck?
He's seriously like an old man feeding bagel bits to pigeons. Like, oh, wow. I knew what the CIA knew all along. Like, why didn't anybody love me? Like, shut the fuck up, dude. Like,
up.
You had 2 dates last night. Shut the fuck up.
And you left them both.
Yeah, you just dipped on them all. But yeah, this is the end of our episode. It's literally him swinging around New York complaining that he just can't get no love, and that is our fucking episode. That's a wrap on that. I now gotta go to Webbies, you guys. The first one I'm gonna start with is most 90s thing. McKenna, what do you have for most 90s thing?
It's at the fashion show. It's Mary J's outfit, and it is definitely the fact that she has a matching leopard headband to her like formal wear dress.
Yeah.
And it's just sticking up all her hair in the most wild way, but it just looks beautifully 90s. So, ready for aerobics at any time, but also ready for a gala.
And she's always ready for aerobics. If there's one thing we've learned about her, she's down at any moment. It's also like very Josie and the Pussycats, like the way, like it was supposed to be this elegant thing, and she literally just came out with a dress and a wild headband, and I was like, what's happening?
I thought we were going to get a little pop song montage or something. I was ready for it.
What a dream.
Is she barefoot?
Oh, probably. I honestly didn't look down, but that would fit.
I was very distracted by the headband.
Ryan, what do you got for most 90s thing?
At some point, I'm going to assume Jameson, I can't remember, goes to listen to their messages, and they have an answering machine with over 1,000 buttons on it. Like, you just, in the 90s, you had to have the most complicated answering machine possible.
Yeah, so when you put it on the resume, you could put, like, I worked on a thing that had 100 lines.
Yeah, that was literally a skill that you could have is answering machine or phone. I know how to work a phone.
I do phone, and it has a lot of lines. So
I do phone.
if you want to know about
You
me,
know a person has not updated their resume in the last 20 years if they still have phone as a skill.
It's like how you know hotel sucks when it says color TV in the front.
Yes.
Those were great answers for most 90s thing, but you guys, I think I'm going to win it here because to me the most 90s thing was Kraven straight up looking like Freddie Mercury. Like, put them side by side, that bitch. Like, they just copied him.
Wait, King of the 90s Freddie Mercury?
Was he not the 90s?
I don't think so, dude.
No,
But-
he like died in the 80s, didn't he?
No way.
He might
mean-
have died in the 90s.
Wayne's World brought him back with Bohemian Rhapsody.
This is devastating to me because I thought I was going
I
to get
could
a
be way
slammy
off
D
on
on
this.
this. Now
He
that
died in 91, so yeah, he's not exactly.
Okay, he swept the 90s in that 1 year. Well, I guess since I confidently claimed that I was going to get it, I'm just going to give you guys both 2 points and walk away in shame. Great job to both of you guys. R.I.P. Freddie Mercury, you real one. Our next one is Best Web Singer. Ryan, what do you got for it?
At the end, he says, when they're sailing away, the villain and the scientist, he says, I feel like I'm trapped in a Danielle Steele novel. Good one, Peter. You fucking did it again. Danielle Steele novel. This could have been a nominee for the 90s award as well, but Danielle Steele novels were like 700-page books of people fucking.
You could still find him in
Oh.
grocery stores.
Oh,
Really?
good.
The right
Is
one,
he
yeah. Daniel Steele is it because if a place sells books, I'm gonna scan those book titles. Daniel Steele is still out there in some like Vons, and it's
Damn,
they
girl.
are thick too.
Keep cashing those checks.
There was so many references like this where it was a very specific person, and I was like, yeah, for sure, Peter.
Oh, that's like Moody Maru from the show Up and Above.
McKenna, what do you got for Best Web Singer?
I had we kind of already mentioned it, but it's when Spider-Man says that Mary J brings out the animal in him
God.
during the fashion show. Yeah.
Always knows exactly what to say where it's just creepy enough where you're like,
It's so
"Ugh."
fucking creepy that you're just like, if Mary J could hear you, she'd be running the other way. You're lucky that, you know.
He's
You know what, Peter? Just say that you have a boner.
just
Wouldn't that be-
I would
wouldn't
feel
that be
so
easier?
much better if he just said, wow, I got a boner.
Wow, I have a boner. Is that better?
Yeah. Honestly, yeah. For Best Web Singer, guys, I gave it to the girl who commented on Kraven as soon as he walked in and said, look, it's the guy from Cats. It's obviously.
It's a beautiful moment. I have it written down as just a note because it's like, it's so good.
It's beautiful. I love that moment, so I'm going to give myself a point for that one, and because I still feel bad about my first one, so I need something here. Thank you very much. Our next one is Best Kung Fu Grip, aka Best Use of Power. Books, what do you got for it?
It's actually the lack of powers that I really liked. It's when his web thing breaks and he has to hop on top of gators to escape the little gator-filled pond. Really loved that.
And he was real proud of himself, too. He was like, even without
Yeah.
webs.
Yeah. Look at, I'm still bad as fuck. And like, it's just like hopping on top of the little...
Can't keep
But
him down.
also, one of his web slingers broke.
He has
So he
the
just
other
had
one.
to use the other one.
Fucking Peter, dude.
Impossible. He also just falls from buildings regularly without using them, you know? So...
God, he sucks. Ryan, what do you got for Kung Fu Grip?
Oh, it's detective skills here, Cassie.
Oh.
We talked about it already, but he stops in the building. He's like, oh, wait. I have to become the hunter. But how? That's the question, dude. Yeah. That's what you have to figure out is fucking how do you do that? And then, of course, sees the advertisement that says, you belong in the zoo. And he's like, I should go to the zoo. I should take Aunt May to the zoo. Wait a minute. Kraven would like the zoo. There it is, buddy.
He did
you
it.
Got there. You got there eventually.
He's always learning a new skill. I'm glad he finally got detective on there. He could put that one on his resume now. I have the power of yeeting dogs. That Kraven is really fucking good at, you guys.
Hyena.
He just kind of like was showing off. He'd pick one up with one hand, throw it over. And it was.
I love the camera angles we got for that too. Sometimes they flew right at us.
Yeah.
Sometimes off to the side.
So, and then we got.
Did we talk about Mariah's gorgeous red locked former partner, the first guy to take the formula?
Oh no, we did not.
Who she went out there to find, and then he just came out of the wild as like a half man, half lion.
Yeah,
Animorph himself.
A little animorph. Another thing, more 90s than what I said.
Yeah. Cassie, literally everything we've said so far was more 90s,
More
than
90s.
fucking Freddie Mercury.
We have fun here. I'm going to give that one to books. Books I'm going to
Yeah,
give.
probably don't insult Cassie as she's awarding points.
Yeah.
That's what I just
right
learned
as it came to it. So fuck your detective skills. I'm giving books 3 points for that.
Yeah.
Our next one is I'm Walking Here, aka New York is a character, aka most New York thing. Ryan, what do you got for it?
Oh, I got 2 here. Can I give them both, or do I have to pick?
Pick your favorite, and if at the end I don't like what anybody said, we go back to yours.
All right. The most New York thing is if I'm a New Yorker, and I know this has been talked about so much, but I have to do it. If I'm a New Yorker, I have to talk about how I'm in New York. I got to talk about Broadway shows. It's the guy from Cats. That's the longest running show in Broadway history.
The guy from Cats. McKenna, what do you got?
I had the same one. It's so New York to assume a random man in a lion's mane must be walking off the set of Cats to come to the fashion show. Like, it's just
Where
that
else?
assumption of not that he's part of the fashion show, which is fucking Animal Kingdom themed. No, it's definitely that he just walked off of a Broadway set.
That's such a good point. Also, I want to do do some research into like the NYPD books or the computer, and be like, how many people were stabbed right after saying, "Hey, it's the guy from Cats"? Because I bet there's like 70 people who have been murdered right after saying that.
I got a different one. Mine is the moment when Kraven calls New York a concrete jungle.
That was my other one.
And just like how proud the writers must have been, and everyone just like fucking high-fiving each other like we fucking
No one's
did it.
ever thought of this.
We got it in here. We put Kraven, who is in the jungle, into New York, and that's a concrete jungle.
Kraven was like, I've noticed that jungle is like other jungle. Yes?
Yes.
Jungle is like jungle. And Robbie Robertson's like, no, this is a city. This is called New York. And Kraven's like, it's concrete jungle. It's exactly the same. It's concrete jungle. All right, Kraven, settle down.
All right, buddy. But since you guys both got that one, I guess you guys must be right. I'll give you both 2 points for that. That takes us to the end of this, unless somebody has a bonus mystery note, unless we're getting rid of this one because it's not.
It's got to go.
It's got to go. We just don't.
It's got to go.
We know what we're talking about with this show. So that takes us to the end of this. I got a pity point. I gave it to myself, so I got 1 point at the end here. Ryan, you got 4 points, and Books has 6 whole points.
Oh!
I'm so fucking proud right now.
She came in here and she destroyed. You are the champion. Take this trophy. Enjoy it.
I will. I'm gonna make it a point to just win every single time I'm on this show now.
Crush Ryan.
You've
Do
heard
it.
Yeah, it's already been my life goal, so it's not hard to,
I feel like that victory means that McKenna should have to do the outro
The entire
By
outro.
herself.
This is your gift.
as Ryan.
as right. So I just have to insult Cassie a lot.
Yeah, but we're friends this
Insult.
episode, so kind of work that in because we have that lore going on now.
You have that lore going on. Okay, so insult,
I call
but then be like,
insults
never mind,
and,
Cassie.
Compliments as Ryan style.
Yeah.
Like,
Gotcha.
Um,
I don't.
we do have some websites, and if you want to take the websites is the hardest one. If you can name a single website attached to us, you will be the MVP of Superhero Show.
I don't think I can. I witnessed you struggle over this so many times, and I know one of them ends in .co.
Ryan. She's insulting.
But you know what? You try and you recover because we're friends.
Fuck yeah, she did so good. 20 extra points for nothing at the end here. Ryan, can you please tell us about some websites?
Popfilter.co is the website. That's the home base. That's where you can get everything that you want. It's not the best place to get anything, but it is a place to get everything. Popfilter.co. That is the headquarters. Popfilter.co/Amazon is your new bookmark for everything that you buy from now on. That would be awesome for us, bro.
Bruh.
I think that's it. Our Patreon is coming back.
What?
So get ready for that. Get your credit cards out because the Patreon is coming back.
Books. I feel confident in this. You have been on another show on the network, so why don't you tell the people about that other show?
If you like movies and all things movies, you should check out Movie of the Year. They are still on 1973, I believe. They are rounding up. No, or they're just finishing all movies from that year. And
no, we're barely done. Books' episode of 1973 just came out.
Okay, so yeah, you barely are done. And you'll be rounding out.
Halfway through.
Oh, you're halfway through. See, you should check it out because there's a lot more to be discussed about 1973. They're going to determine what the best movie from that year is. And they've done other years too. They're all pretty random. So check out other years as well. Movie of the year.
We also have social media. We're on social media. Find us some way. You can do it. I believe in you
At
guys.
Your Pop Filter on Instagram.
Hell yeah. And that's the only one we care about at the moment.
And then contact at Your Pop Filter.
That's our email. You can send us any comments you have. That's our, if you want to say how good of a job I did on this one, that's where you want to send that compliment to. If you want to say how bad of a job Ryan did on this one, that's also where you want to send that one. And that
if you want to give me a congrats for winning and kicking ass, you can send it there and they won't pass along that message to me.
We will throw it directly in the trash, but thank you for sending it.
We will print it out and throw it in the trash.
Directly. That is it for this episode, though. Next week, you guys, Doom Patrol will be returning. And who else is coming with that return? Paul from the Waiting Room, Waiting for Doom podcast. He's going to be back. So be sure to catch that episode. But that is it for this one. For Mike, I'm Ryan. For Ryan, I'm Mike. For Books, I am me. And for Caitlin, I am me. Bye, everyone.